Well, it's Tuesday, October 1st, meaning we are now just 5 weeks away from the general election here in North Dakota. KX News' Guy Gregory explains why now is the time voters need to start having a plan in place before they cast their ballot, as we lead local.
As we begin to enter the election home stretch, North Dakota Secretary of State Michael Howe says voters need to know how and where they will be casting their ballots for the 2024 general election.
So we're really encouraging voters to make a plan to vote. And what does that plan entail? Make sure you have the proper ID.
Secretary Howe says there are several legal forms of ID that you must present to the poll worker before you get your ballot. They can be one of the following: a North Dakota driver's license, a non-driver's ID, a long-term care certificate, or a tribal ID or tribal letter.
So make sure you have the proper ID, and then go to vote.nd.gov and find your polling location. Find a sample ballot, see who's on your ballot before you go to a polling location.
If you can't make it to the voting booth on Election Day, that doesn't mean you're left out from participating. Howe says all North Dakota voters have other options to get their ballot in.
I like North Dakota's process because voters can choose how they want to participate. If your county offers that in-person early voting, you can utilize that, or the absentee process as well if you know you're going to be out of town maybe for a week. So the voter has options.
Most absentee ballots have been mailed out to those voters who already applied for them earlier this year. However, you still have time to request an absentee ballot application from your county auditor or through the Secretary of State's office at vote.nd.gov. You will be required to fill out the application and provide legal identification before you receive your absentee ballot in the mail. Ballots must be sealed and dropped off at your county auditor's office on the day prior to the election by 5 p.m., or postmarked on November 4th if you choose to mail them. With the election right around the corner, Howe says it takes a lot of heavy lifting to ensure the next election takes off successfully.
We have about 3,000 poll workers to conduct a North Dakota election. So if you're interested at all in serving your community, wanting to know more about the process, I encourage you all to reach out to your county office and asking how can I become involved in the process and help out with the 2024 election.
All voters must be 18 years of age or older, a United States citizen, a resident of North Dakota, and you must reside in your voting precinct for 30 days prior to the election. Reporting for KX News, I'm Guy Gregory.
Secretary Howe says all absentee and early ballots are processed and securely stored at each county auditor's office until Election Day, when they'll be later counted with other ballots after polls close. We'll have a link to the Secretary of State's website, including early voting information inside the story on KXNet.com.